Hello, I'm Christy Welch, Direct Marketing Specialist with the Ohio State University South Centers, and I'm pleased to welcome you to our virtual 2021 Agritourism Ready Conference. We are sorry we can't be all together on a farm this year as we've done in the past, but we do think that we have some great information from a variety of presenters for you. So I hope you enjoy watching the presentations. Be sure to submit any questions that you have about the presentations to the email address you received your registration confirmation from. And then we hope you can join us live on March the 18th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. online. And our presenters will be with us and able to answer your questions live at that time. And I wanted to thank the Wright and Moore Law Company, as well as Ohio Farm Bureau Federation of Ross, Pickaway, Hocking, and Fairfield counties for collaborating with us again this year to bring you some great information about agritourism ready here in Ohio. And again, we look forward to seeing you March 18th at 6:30 p.m.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ivory Harlow. I'm the Organization Director for the Ohio Farm Bureau, and I'm here to talk to you today about unconventional advertising, no and low-cost ways to market agritourism. In this session, we're going to touch on a few different areas to get you some ideas of how to market your agritourism event or venue effectively. We're going to talk about how to generate press. We're going to talk about partnership promotions. We're going to talk about digital and print advertising. And then to end things, I'm going to tell you what I would do if I had a marketing budget of just $150. So first of all, let's talk about generating press. The first aspect of generating press is the oldest and most effective kind of advertising there is, and that is word of mouth advertising. So 92% of consumers believe recommendations from family and friends over traditional advertising that we see in print magazines. 92%. That's great for those of us who can't afford those expensive ads in publications. 64% of marketing executives indicate that they think word of mouth is the most effective form of marketing. So that's 64% of marketing executives. That is great evidence that word of mouth is the best kind of advertising that you can do for your agritourism operation. So let's think about a few ideas that we can get people talking about your venue or talking about your agritourism event. I call this the 5 tips to create superfans. Tip number 1, feature your customers in your stories. So whether that's on your social media or in any kind of advertising or publication where you would have a testimonial, feature your customers, because likely those customers are going to share that and whatever they said with their friends and family. Of course, always ask their permission, especially if you're using pictures of an agritourism event that involve folks that are under 18 years old. Always ask permission if you're going to use a testimonial, a story, or a picture from your fans. Tip number 2 to create superfans, make your content shareable. So this works really good in social media advertising. Make the content shareable. Tag other organizations you're working with, tag the customer themselves so they see that they are being featured in your advertising, and they will then spread that to others. Tip number 3 is provide opportunities for memorable moments. So a great idea that I see a lot of agritourism and tourism destinations using is to create cutouts where you can put your faces in, or big chairs, or different kinds of events where people want to put their children and family and take pictures and then share that on social media. A lot of folks are doing it, but a lot of folks aren't branding it with their brand. They aren't adding aspects of signage so people know where they are. You can do that, and then they're going to share that with their family and friends, and you're also getting some advertising. So create opportunities for memorable moments. Tip number 4 to create superfans is to ask for help. So actually ask people to share information about your agritourism venue. I was at a zip lining course, and there was a midway point where everyone stopped and took a break and had drinks and s'mores over the campfire. And at that time, they asked us, please review us on this directory for these kinds of tourism events. Give us a 5-star review. We are the most rated and reviewed. They asked us to do that, so I did it. I wouldn't have thought of that on my own, but the ask is important. So ask people to share information about your agritourism. And last but not least, tip number 5 to create superfans is to treat your customers like VIPs. Make them feel special, make them feel welcome at your agritourism event. If they feel like they're being treated special, the likely that they're going to spread that information with others. So a second no-cost way to generate press is the press release. A press release is a short and specific document. So it always aims to spark interest in your agritourism or in your venue and provide need-to-know information. It's going to tell folks who, what, when, where, and how. So it's not a big, deep, in-depth article. It's really giving need-to-know information. It's specific. So you're writing about an event that's happening at your agritourism operation, or a new product that your farm is offering, or your venue for a specific aspect. Maybe you just reopened for spring or something like that, and it's going to talk about a specific aspect. There are tons of templates for writing press releases online. So I won't go into that. If you just Google press release template, you can see there is an accepted format for a press release, and you'll want to make sure that you abide by those consider what folks need in that by using a template if you're not familiar with writing a press release. So once you've done that, it's a less than 1-page document, pretty simple to do. You're going to want to submit it to local newspapers and publications on their website. For example, if you have a hometown newspaper or a newspaper that you'd like to submit to, go to the website, go to the contact us or the submit news at the bottom, and there should be a drop down that says submit press release, and you do it right there. Many of these sites will allow you to add a picture. Always add a picture if you do have one available, or if there is an option. Whether they use it or not, that's up to them, but always give people more information. If they are looking for space to fill and you have a picture and another doesn't, they're going to choose yours. So provide them with a picture and everything they need through their website. Now, you can also submit press releases for free at PR Log, Press Release Point, and Newswire Today. Those are online, and that just kind of puts it out there for folks to pick up. Often a local newspaper or local publication that's looking for space to fill will go on there and search keywords. So make sure that you have keywords within your press release, for example, where you're located. If you have a wedding barn and you serve folks that are interested in having a wedding at your venue, you'll want to add those keywords in case a publication was looking for something specifically on weddings or venues. So make sure you add those keywords. You can submit those, but I always suggest reach out directly to the publications that you know that your target audience is going to be reading. So another no-cost way to generate press is by publishing information on your website, on a blog, or by guest blogging. So here's what I suggest. You've written that press release, you've submitted it to local publications. Now take it, tweak it a little bit, add some more information, add some pizzazz, and publish it to your website, to a blog, or to a guest blog. Of course, your website and social media, it should always go on there. You can also reach out to local or state tourism websites. A great example is hawkinghills.com. They have a blog, an ongoing blog there. You might just want to send it over and say, I noticed you have a blog. I serve this area. I am an agritourism destination. Here's a press release I recently submitted. I would like to provide this as a guest blog. Would you be willing to have guest authors on your blog? Something like that. You could also check with your Chamber of Commerce. Often they will publish short articles or short guest blogs. And then Blogorama is a directory of blogs. Of course, it's nationwide, but what you can look at are blogs that focused on tourism, mommy blogs. So if you have a family kind of venue or event that you are marketing to, a wedding blogs, event planning blogs, family blogs. If you have, most of us in agritourism have specific locations that we would be serving. So you'll want to search through the different blogs and where they are located and if it would be a good fit before you contact them. However, many of these blogs will accept guest blogs, and it's just a couple of clicks for you. You've already written that press release. Why not expand the reach? So let's say you're not that great of a writer and you don't want to write your own press release. You can always pitch your story to a local publication. So think about if you have a hometown newspaper that loves to feature local news. Also, there are regional newspapers that you can reach out to, assuming that you are attracting folks within a 100-mile radius to your venue or your event. There are also specialty publications. So a great example in Pickaway County is we have the Pickaway County Cultivator. That is a specialty ag publication in our county. And of course, agriculture publications. There are several examples of that. Our Ohio by the Ohio Farm Bureau recently published a story on a fish farm that is producing a caviar product. So there are always publications that are focused on a specific aspect that you might be a good fit for. Livestock publications. So I'm thinking about the Cattlemen's Association, those different focuses. If you have show cattle and also do an aspect of agritourism on your farm, or hogs, something like that, those specialty publications might be a good place to reach out to and pitch your story. And also tourism publications as well. If you are in an area that has a publication focused towards tourism, and usually you'll find those in your Chamber of Commerce or in your visitor center, reaching out to them and pitching your story. Now, when I say pitch your story, I'm not saying you are going to want to call them up and say, hey, you want to come write a story on me. You might need to put a little spin on that story to make it unique and story worthy. A couple examples about that are a unique aspect of your farm. I mentioned that story in our Ohio about the caviar on the fish farm. So this is a fish farm, that's a little unique, but they were producing a caviar product, which that's really interesting. That's a diverse kind of agriculture. So is there something unique or special you're doing? The food supply chain. So during COVID, we all saw major aspects of the food supply chain being disrupted. And so if your farm recovered from that, maybe you weren't able to hold agritourism as you normally do in the past, and you have just reopened, that would be interesting to read about. What are you doing this year? How has your operation changed since last year due to COVID or supply chain disruptions? Along with that, the farm economy. So we all saw major interruptions last year. People are interested in how farmers are faring, what farmers have done to diversify. That would be a great story for a local publication. And also a recipe plus. Everybody loves recipes. If you have a pick your own and you want to include a recipe, and by the way, you have a pick your own and you can come these times of the week in this specific location and get plenty of supplies for this recipe. That's another great way to pitch to a local publication. Another way to generate press that is free is get featured in newsletters. So start by asking, what organizations are you part of that might have newsletters? Example, County Farm Bureau. We all have newsletters for the most part. So reaching out to your County Farm Bureau and say, hey, I have a special event. It's agritourism. I invite the community out. Would you like to publish a short article in your newsletter? There's also many ag-related newsletters. So our county extension offices, many of them produce newsletters. Folks might be interested in hearing a little about your event or an ad in there. And most of our 4-H clubs also have newsletters that go out to families that are involved in 4-H. Service or product specific newsletters. So I'm thinking about a conservation league or a hunting club. And let's say you raise game birds or have hunts on your farm, something like that would be a really interesting article in their newsletter. Family focused newsletters. So I know the local YMCA, churches often have newsletters, daycares, schools. If you have an event that invites the family out to your farm or invites families to participate in some kind of agritourism event, reaching out to those organizations and asking for space in their newsletter is a great idea. And last but not least, business or community newsletters. So most of our communities have a foundation that puts out a newsletter. Our Chamber of Commerce often does, our Rotary clubs and visitor centers as well. They're always looking for space to fill in those newsletters. Reaching out to them is a great idea. I would suggest starting by thinking about your customer and what newsletters they might be receiving. So if you have a lot of families coming out to your farm, what newsletters might they be receiving? A great example of that is those folks are going to church on Sunday and picking up a monthly newsletter, and they're bringing their families to church. They would probably be interested in a Sunday afternoon activity after that. So that would be a great example. And then make it easy for newsletter publishers. What I mean is, you will be much more successful if you reach out to your county farm bureau and you say, I've drafted this brief article or brief ad about my operation. I invite families out from the community. I think a lot of families that read your newsletter would like it. Let me send it over to you with a picture. So don't expect the folks that are publishing these newsletters to do the work, but for a little work and no cost, you could be featured in those newsletters for free. Okay, let's switch gears from talking about how to generate press to partnership promotions. So, what are some benefits of partnership promotions? Number one, bigger audience. So, by partnering with other organizations, you will reach a bigger audience. That means you'll get greater exposure for your agritourism event. It will also reduce the cost. So if there are advertising costs, you can reduce those costs by working with partners. You can reach new customers. So if you're pooling your marketing lists, you can reach new customers and form mutually beneficial relationships. And that's not just for the single event, that's for the long term. What are examples of partnership promotions? Well, perhaps on your farm, you would host an education session. You might partner with the Farm Bureau to do that. You might partner with Soil and Water Conservation District to do a pasture walk. You might partner with Extension to come educate about an aspect of livestock or something else on your farm at your agritourism event. You could also create a partnership promotion through cooperation. So partnering with other local farms to create a local farm tour. In Fairfield County, we're doing a farm hop during the growing season. And if you are a farmer in Fairfield County and you are selling farm products off your farm and you want to sign up for the hop, we will direct folks to you on a self-driving tour. So you can get customers that way by working with your Farm Bureau. You could also allow vendors to set up at your event. So let's say you have a pick your own apple orchard in fall and you reach out to a pumpkin grower and have that person come out and partner to create a great fall event. Or other folks that are creating fall type food or baked goods or something like that. Working with others will expand the reach because those folks will also be promoting to their target customers. And another way for a partnership promotion is through working with service providers. So let's say you have an agritourism event going on and you have a photographer that is going to come during the event and offer mini sessions. So a family can come to a pumpkin patch, have a mini photo session with a photographer for an added fee. That photographer will be promoting that event to their audience and you will be promoting that event to your audience. You can work with service providers. Now, as a county Farm Bureau organization director, I put on a lot of events and I like nothing more than when I find an event or I find a caterer or a service provider that I'm going to use and I say, do you know where I can get tents, where I can get food, where I can get these other aspects? And they say, sure, I work with this person all the time. Makes my job super easy. I stop looking right there and go with their recommendations. So perhaps you can form a mutually beneficial relationship to promote your event or your venue with those service providers that you work so closely with. Okay, let's switch gears to digital advertising. So first, in digital advertising, we're going to talk about email and text marketing as no or low cost ways to reach new folks to attend your agritourism event. So let's start with email marketing. Now, MailChimp is a digital advertising email marketing service. It's free. You can use it to send email blasts. You can use it to create digital newsletters. And so if you have an established customer list, for example, let's say you sell at the farmer's market and you send receipts, email receipts to folks that pay with cards, and you have those emails, you could use a service like MailChimp for free to send out marketing messages about your agritourism event. There's also a new service that I'm pretty excited about. It's called USPS Every Door Direct. And what that is actually a direct mail service, but you create your direct mail. So let's say you're going to mail a postcard about an event that you have coming up to residents within a targeted area. Using USPS Every Door Direct, you can target down to exactly the demographic, the area that you would like to send that promotion. You can send that through a direct mail. It digitizes it and also sends them an email to folks that have signed up for that service. So this is called USPS Every Door Direct. It is very low cost and affordable. And that digital aspect where it takes your print postcard and digitizes it into an email so they receive it two ways, that is a free service right now. So I would suggest jumping on the USPS website and reading some more about that. Now, if you want to build your own lists and send those out, all you need is a library card. The Columbus Library, you can get a library card online. You don't need to live in Columbus. There are two databases I would suggest that you use to find new customers if you are going to be sending emails or direct mail. Those databases are Demographics Now and Reference Solutions. So you can go on to the Columbus Library, pull up their reference databases, and go into Demographics Now and put in information about your target customer, who they are, where they live. Is it a family? Is it someone over age 65, a retiree? Is it someone who's between 20 and 30 and in a certain income bracket, and you're thinking someone that might be getting married soon? Maybe it's a young family that might be having children looking for a venue. Whatever your target customer is, you can use Demographics Now to pull up a list that you can send emails and direct mail, and Reference Solutions as well. It's another way to do that, to generate your own lists. Text marketing is a relatively new and increasingly popular way to advertise digitally. So text marketing, also called SMS marketing, runs about 1 to 5 cents per text message. Now, that seems great, right? And really inexpensive. If you have an existing list, it can be. However, you are charged for renting keywords. And so that's up to you. The keywords cost between $5 and $20 depending on what the keyword is, its popularity, and the reach. You then buy a package based on reach. So if you want to reach $2,000 about weddings and brides and venues, you will be buying those keywords. You will be buying a package based on reach, and then it costs 1 to 5 cents per text. Still, it is a quickly growing and a great response rate in terms of digital advertising. So, although the cost can add up relatively quickly, if you have a small budget and you want to send and get a great response from a variety of folks, I would suggest looking into text marketing. Now, there are several services that offer that. I would just Google, if I were you, online text marketing services and check out a bunch of these different packages. There is quite a wide range in the costs of those packages based on reach, but there are quite a few reputable companies that are doing this now. So as we continue down with some low cost digital advertising methods, we have to talk about social media. So 57% of respondents on a Sprout Social report said that they use social media to learn about business offerings. 50% of respondents said they are using social media more now than they did before COVID. So COVID has increased social media usage. There are really two ways, and I say social, I'm talking about Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all of the normal culprits. But there are really two ways, specifically on Facebook, but for the most part, with all of our social media, that we can advertise. First is to boost a post. Second is to create an ad. I want to tell you the difference between these because a lot of time folks don't know that there is a difference. If you are boosting a post, you get to set a budget. And that is also true of an ad. You set a budget. If you go in there and say, I have $5 to spend on this, $5 it is. You do not have to pay more than you have in your budget. Both are also multimedia friendly, meaning you can boost a post that has a video in it. You can boost an ad, or you can create an ad that has a video in it, or a picture or a graphic. Either will work either way. Boosting posts will expand the reach of the post, meaning that post is going to be in front of more people. An advertisement is different because you choose a campaign goal. That can be to show the ad to more people, right? That's called brand awareness, but it can be to create click-throughs, to get people to click through. There's a great button component within an advertisement where it's buy now, buy tickets now. You can actually sell tickets to your event or your venue on Facebook, or have folks click that button and route them through your website. You cannot do that with a boosted post. So advertisements are great for those one-time only sorts of things, or if you're having folks buy tickets pre-coming to your farm for agritourism. And advertising is also special because you can target those advertisements. As a boost, you're just going to expand the reach. So folks anywhere will see that. With an ad, you can target people that you want to see that ad. Why is that useful? Well, it's great to build brand awareness with the boost. However, if an ad you're selling and you have a specific customer in mind that you know is going to want to attend this agritourism opportunity, your targeted ad is going to be much more successful than your boost. So there are some differences. I suggest using both, but if you have a target in mind, you're selling tickets, or you have a specific thing in mind for a specific audience, I would suggest going with the ad. I must mention the popularity of video live and the ability to broadcast from a page. So when we look at the kinds of ads and boosts that are more successful, they're including those components. So keeping that in mind. I also would be remiss not to mention that YouTube is the second largest search engine after Google. The second largest, meaning people are using YouTube to search for wedding venues. They're using YouTube to search for craft beer making, right? So using YouTube to route people to your website to share on social media is important. And with 3 billion searches per month, YouTube's search volume is actually larger than Bing, Yahoo, AOL, and Ask.com combined. So don't overlook YouTube as a tool to reach new customers. So a little less known, but can be super effective in digital advertising is Google Ads. Used to be called Google Ads Words, but it is Google Ads. Now there are two different kinds of Google Ads, much like the boost and the ad. In Google, we call it Search Network or Google Display Network. So Search Network is if you type in wine in Ohio and results come up and you see the little ad at the top of the results. That's a search network. Google Display Network is actually displaying advertisements. So there's a little bit of a difference between those. Both, you're going to set your budget by bidding. So you are in control. Once again, like social media, you are in control of your budget, meaning if you have a small amount of money to spend on advertising, that's fine. You can still have a great reach and you will never be charged more than your maximum bid. There are a few terms that we need to talk about when we're talking about Google Ads. First is your ad rank. Your ad rank is the cost per click times your quality score. What does that mean? Your cost per click is the max bid that you are bidding, that you are willing to pay per click on your ad. The quality score is kind of an algorithm in itself that is composed of the expected click-through for whatever your keywords are that you indicate, your keyword popularity, and your landing page quality. So just as an example here, let's say your max bid for the keyword pumpkin is $4, and your ad has a quality score of 8 for your pick your own pumpkin patch. That would make your ad rank 32. If you have other competitors that are using Google Ads for their pick your own pumpkin patches and you are 32, you are going to be lower on the list than someone that has a higher ad rank. So the higher your ad rank, the higher you are going to be in that top advertising spot. A few trends to talk about. 2020 average travel and hospitality industry cost per click was $1.53 on the search network. For Google Display Network, it was just 44 cents. So when we're talking about low cost advertising, Google Ads is a great place to go with your money. Now we're talking about travel and hospitality specifically in the industry here. The 2020 average click-through, so click-through rate on that ad is 4.68% for search and 0.47% on the Google Display Network. So that's pretty low if you're getting people to click through. However, if you're spending $1.53, you're still reaching folks. The Google average cost per 1,000 of impressions, so 1,000 people see that ad, whether they're clicking through or not, is $4.33. To get your business or your ad in front of the eyes of 1,000 people, on average, $4.33. So the Google Ads touts that their return on investment is $8 for every dollar spent. So it is a great way for low cost advertising. Here's what I will say about Google Ads. If you have a digital advertising budget, I would suggest always focusing your efforts on social media advertising first. If you have a venue, something that is permanent, something that you will be accepting folks through year-round or hosting different aspects, I would suggest dividing your advertising budget for digital advertising between Google Ads and social media. So just something to consider. Google Ads isn't right for everyone, but it can be amazing and produce amazing returns if you are trying to expand your market and you have a venue, an agritourism venue, and it's a permanent venue that you are planning on inviting folks to. What comes to mind immediately is weddings, family gatherings, big barns for meeting space, things like that. Purchasing those keywords and placing a Google ad is a great low-cost way to advertise. Okay, print advertising is what we all know and love. These are things like road signs. That's a picture of a road sign I made earlier this year. Community boards, visitor centers, libraries for flyers, brochures, great place to leave information about your agritourism event or venue. Now you can design it online. Microsoft has tons of templates for flyers. You can print them out in full color on your printer at home, or you can enlist the help of an expert. I have a local vendor, Ink My Logo, in Pickaway County who does all of my signage for me. I get a great price on those because I work with this person often. So you can also enlist the help of an expert if you need some design help. Usually they will do that for you for free if you just tell them what you want. Or there are online services like Vistaprint. Now, I will mention, a lot of you are probably thinking agritourism, yard signs, not so sure. I was speaking with a agritourism operation down in Scioto County, and they said they get more traffic and more inquiries from their yard signs that they put out in surrounding counties than they do with all other kinds of advertising. That surprised me until I was driving down the road and saw a local pork sign where you could purchase a whole or half hog. And I pulled over and took a picture with my phone and called them. So yard signs work. In terms of signage as well, those might be fixed signs outside your agritourism operation indicating that you are there, or at the corner, for example, being able to put up information pointing folks in your direction. That will spark interest in where you're located, especially if you're a little off the main road there with your agritourism option. It is time for the $150 budget challenge. So what would I do if all I had was $150 to market my agritourism? First thing I would do is take 95 of it and spend it on signage. And that could be either for a permanent fixed sign for my agritourism operation or for those yard signs. So you could get 10 yard signs and stands through Vistaprint or through a local vendor for $95. So I would take 95, the bulk of it, and put it on signage, making sure that folks could see and were drawn to my location because I had professional, nice looking signage. I'd take $5 of that and buy a ream of paper. And from that ream of paper, I would print up brochures, I would print up flyers, I might make cards, and I would distribute those to my community centers, my libraries, any place where there's the stack of brochures for tourism, my stuff would be there. I would make sure that folks got copies of that and those were posted on community boards. I have $50 left in the $150 budget channel. What would I do? I would spend it on digital advertising. So if I were a permanent venue, like we talked about, a winery, for example, that has a tasting room, I would be spending about 25 of that $50 in Google ads. I'd be creating Google ads for my operation. I'd spend the other $25 on social media, boosted posts, and ads. If I just had a pick your own that was in a limited amount of time, or a pumpkin patch, for example, or pony rides, something that was a limited time period, a limited event, a special event, I would put that entire $50 all in to social media advertising. It really depends on what your operation is doing and what your goals are. But again, I'd have that $50 left would all go to digital advertising. That's going to deliver the biggest bang for your buck. That is all I have for you. Thank you for joining me this afternoon for this presentation. If you have questions or wanted to follow up on any of the things I talked about in this presentation, you can reach me at iharlow@ofbf, as in Ohio Farm Bureau Federation.org. Reach out to me anytime. Thank you so much.